Hello and welcome to The American Rancher. I'm Pam Minnick. Today's program takes us to the eastern United States, where we'll examine beef production and specifically feeder cattle from the state of Virginia. The Virginia Cattlemen's Association is an active group of beef producers, and they've set up a number of operations for us to visit on today's show that will give us some insight and history as to the state's standing and heritage in raising cattle. Virginia is a state with very good genetics that ship feeder cattle all across the country. It's also a very striking and beautiful part of America with diverse agricultural interests. We'll learn how producers bring cattle to market, as well as the work of the Virginia Quality Assured Certification. We're glad you joined us. Please stay tuned as we visit the oldest state in the nation and the people that raise cattle there on The American Rancher.
With BRD, every second counts. And when you get new high-risk cattle, you've got a choice to make. You can either take your chances and wait and see what happens, or you can take charge of BRD. Right from the start, treat bacteria up front with Baytril 100 Enrofloxacin Injectable, now approved by the FDA for BRD metaphylaxis and high-risk cattle. Ask your veterinarian about Baytril 100 and make it your go-to drug to control BRD in high-risk cattle or for treatment of BRD. Baytril 100, right the first time.
Putting burgers on the grill and cheese on burgers doesn't just happen. It takes a lot of smart farmers making smart decisions all along the way. We're committed, along with our dealers, to delivering the hay tools and all the other equipment you need to get the job done right.
The Summer of Savings sales event is here. Visit your local dealer for a great deal. Promotion ends September 30th.
More than 1 million American families depend on cattle for all or part of their income. Because cattle farmers are such an important part of America's economy, they need a lender who is experienced and understands the industry. A lender who wants to help you succeed. Farm Credit has loan officers who specialize in financing cattle operations, and they understand the complex needs and demands of a successful operation. Whether you're building fences, establishing pastures, or purchasing cattle, Farm Credit is ready to help you grow.
Welcome back to The American Rancher. According to recent statistics, Virginia ranks approximately 15th nationally in total number of cattle and calves and sends cattle out of state in almost every direction. On today's program, we'll visit several operations and see feeder cattle that originate here. Our first stop is west in Augusta County, one of the state's most prolific beef production areas.
Our farm here is Maple Springs Farm, and we're near Weir's Cave, Virginia. The farm's been here since 1819. Our kids been 6 generations been here. And we run beef cattle here, both cows, and we background some cattle, graze some yearlings. And we do also procure some cattle, order buy some cattle out of this area for different people, different parts of the country.
Jeff Slavin and family maintain about 450 cows and background a lot of calves for feedlots in Pennsylvania, Iowa, Nebraska, Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan. Maple Springs Farm is the largest Virginia exporter of feeder cattle to Canada, sending some 2,500 head there during the last half of 2012.
Our shipment of feeder cattle into Quebec started not quite a year ago. Department of Agriculture here in Virginia laid the groundwork for a lot of that, and we were very fortunate to be involved with that. And we buy mostly 6-weight black steer calves out of this area through a lot of the graded cattleman sales, medium, large frame calves, do the health protocol as they require here and get all the certificates in 10 to 12 days, get a truck under them, and they've been moved up there from last August to now. Most of the cattle you'll find in Virginia are going to have black hide on them. and be of Angus-based cattle, maybe not a totally Angus, but have a predominantly Angus genetics in them. A lot of that is driven off of the high demand we get for the cattle out of Pennsylvania, and those cattle serve that northeastern market. A really choice, high choice, prime type carcass. They want those cattle to be really high up in the choice range and yield very well, and those type of cattle conform to that standard.
There are numerous operations of 20 to 40 head cow herds across the state where stockmen raise the calves and sell at local auction markets. More and more, though, Virginia cattlemen are realizing the value of selling cattle in truckload lots.
There's a lot of small packages of feeder cattle, so being able to produce calves that are somewhat uniform and multiple people commingle or go together to market their cattle become more critical to get those cattle into load lots or into groups big enough for other buyers to be interested in. So the importance of that has become more relevant to even the smaller producers in the state.
Scott Jesse is an agricultural extension agent who advises the Russell County Cattlemen's Association, which is the largest cooperative marketing entity of backgrounded and commingled feeder cattle in the state of Virginia. Annually, this group sells load lots of calves under the Virginia Quality Assured brand across the nation. Smithfield Farms is a long-standing cattle producer from this scenic country located in the southwestern corner of the state.
My son came home. He was really interested in improving our herd, so we left the stocker business and went purely to a cow-calf operation. And we have tried to push the envelope a little bit and make a rapid change in genetic progress in this herd, not only through AI, but the purchase of really quality bulls. And we think our calves are as good as anybody's. We're, I guess you'd say, basically a winter calving operation. We'll start in January. Preponderance of them will be born in February. Then they graze these native bluegrass, white clover pastures in southwest Virginia. And we'll wean the calves in late September, precondition them for 45 days. And they're offered on the Virginia Cattlemen's board sales. We've been real fortunate to have the Pennsylvania market, which has been good to us. We've always traditionally had a good Ohio market, but we've got cattle in Iowa this year. We've had cattle in Nebraska and Kansas, so they do move west.
We AI'd 65 of our own heifers that we're going to keep as replacements. Also AI'd 120 cows, and these cows and heifers are going to produce feeder cattle. The best end of the heifers, obviously, we'll keep as replacements in our own herd, but the steers will move right on to the chain to the feedlot phase, and then into harvest. So we kind of look at it from the end, kind of back toward us. We want cattle that perform well on the rail. We want cattle that perform in the feedlot, and then we want cattle that perform on our mountain pastures here in Virginia. These are our replacement heifers. These heifers were born February and March of 2012. Weaned here, we sent them off to be grown out, and they've come back about 1st of May. And we've got the bull in with them right now, wherever he is, but they're finishing up breeding right now. These girls are going to calve about the 1st of February of 2014 with their first calf. Yes, we've got our sits upward son. I think he's a 3-year-old bull now, and he's cleaning up the heifers. We bred these 65 A item to Keneally Confidence, a select Irish bull that's got really balanced traits as far as growth traits, maternal traits, carcass traits. He's good across the board. And we've got an upward son here who I think is a really outstanding young bull for us to clean him up.
Russell County is also home to Stewart Land and Cattle, one of the oldest family-owned cattle operations in the United States. Linda Stewart oversees this diversified operation that home raises calves and has feedlot interests elsewhere. Stewart Land and Cattle has been continuously operating since the 1600s.
We think that the improved handling of the cattle is also contributing to the herd, the overall herd health. And when we sell, either if we were selling feeder calves or if we're selling, retaining ownership to harvest, we feel like the animal that has not been stressed is going to be one that's going to be better on the consumer plate. Research is just beginning to come in now to prove that the handling, the care, the nurturing of animals will make a difference in the edible product. while our cattle are doing well, and we just sent 23 Simmental cross steers that were harvested, and 100% were choice, and 57% made CAB. There's always areas to improve, and so we feel like if we can increase the ribeye, we will be able to get more premiums and better return for the farm. We are feeding cattle in Iowa, we are feeding cattle in Nebraska, and we have 2 different lots we use in Nebraska, and we're feeding cattle now in Kansas.
Good genetics and lots of history raising cattle that are fed in out-of-state markets are part of the fabric of beef production in Virginia. When we return, we'll learn more as we head east and meet producers in the central and eastern portions of the state. This is the American Rancher. Don't go away.
With BRD, every second counts. And when you get new high-risk cattle, you've got a choice to make. You can either take your chances and wait and see what happens, or you can take charge of BRD. Right from the start, treat bacteria up front with Baytra 100 Enrofloxacin Injectable, now approved by the FDA for BRD metaphylaxis in high-risk cattle. Ask your veterinarian about Baytra 100 and make it your go-to drug to control BRD in high-risk cattle or for treatment of BRD. Baytra 100, right the first time.
Welcome back to the American Rancher. Virginia is a quality beef production state. The families that have raised cattle have been suppliers to eastern and a number of western markets through the years. The Virginia Cattlemen's Association has steadily worked to bring about Virginia Quality Assured, or VQA, certification for the state's producers to expand market opportunities. Virginia Quality Assured, VQA, is a feeder cattle marketing program which is used to identify and market feeder cattle that meet superior health and genetic requirements. The Gold Tag program focuses on superior health requirements, while the Purple Tag program takes into account both health and genetic considerations.
Well, when Scott started with us in Extension probably 6 or 7 years ago, he started trying to get producers to cooperate on putting lots of calves together and then market together through the tail auctions. You just open yourself up to so many more buyers because, you know, a guy in Kansas is not going to come here and buy half a load of cattle. You know, sometimes it's been over $100 a head of added value just by weaning them 45 days and giving them their shots.
These wean cattle will bring somewhere in the neighborhood of $8 to $10 a hundred more than the regular middle-of-the-run stockyard cattle. The difference is the cattle are weaned and had all of their shots. They go to work for me the first day that I've got them.
Here at Ward Feed Yard, we do receive all the carcass data that comes back from all the cattle that we harvest here. The Virginia cattle specifically, if the customer allows us to get the right amount of finish on, we do average 80% or better choice quality grade. If they are put together on that area, backgrounded, preconditioned, we receive them. We will pay a premium. My customers, sometimes if they need to sell those animals, will pay premium for the less health risk that we have. The benefits of preconditioning those cattle are huge.
The Virginia Cattlemen's Association, or VCA, was organized in 1944 and chartered in 1953 to promote the profit potential of Virginia's cattle industry. Frank Graves is head of livestock marketing with the Virginia Department of Agriculture.
One of our programs that we picked up here about 1.5 years ago, all just regarding a simple little email that I received from a cattle feeder in Quebec, Canada. So we got a little program going, And one of the funny things, I went up to a cattle meeting up there, and it was all in French, but didn't have any problems. And we've been doing business with a couple of those folks up there. We work with the Animal Health Department, both here in Virginia, the USDA, and the Canadian Animal Health divisions.
Virginia Quality Assured certification includes the grading of the cattle by an experienced and impartial grader. These descriptions assist the marketing efforts of both buyers and sellers of Virginia cattle.
Every person does not have their own load of steers. And so we actually will go farm to farm and put these cattle together in like lots. And the grading is used to describe to the buyers. It'll be graded with the USDA feeder cattle grades, mediums, large, smalls, 1s and 2s, or combinations thereof. We'll put a description on anything that will change the value of the cattle.
I like to say that our cattle are born needing a passport because they're all going to leave here. And this grading program and marketing program really helps in merchandising those cattle.
One concern that affects Virginia cattlemen increasingly is the Chesapeake Clean Water Initiative. In spite of its positive-sounding title, the policy has a downside in that it threatens Virginia cattlemen with costly regulatory measures that could put them out of business by forcing them to foot the bill on certain land improvements. Many feel the Chesapeake debate serves as a model as to how some politicians desire to impose land use control on farmers and ranchers. MC Cattle is a partnership operation located in Chatham, which is one of the larger commercial cow herds in Southside Virginia. Both Jay Calhoun and Robert Mills were smaller operators who joined forces 10 years ago and have really expanded.
Our major operation is lease land. There's no way we could do what we do without leasing the land that we do. We just felt it was much better that we could work together and be much further ahead than working independently. We still have the ability then to go to the auction markets if we need to, but now we're afforded the opportunity then to go and market our cattle as being a name behind the cattle, that we could establish a reputation, that people know then if they bid on our cattle or buy our cattle, that they would have a consistent product. They would basically know what they're getting. We're a competitive commodity now for the land in the sense that we have dairy producers, grain producers, tobacco producers. They're competing a lot for the same acreage. And that's a challenge for us because then we're in a straight competitive against other commodities. We feel though we need a product then that are people willing to seek and come here and buy.
Null Crest Farm at Red House, Virginia is recognized across the country for their exceptional bulls and progressive genetics in Angus, Gelbvieh, and Hereford cattle. The Bennett family began work with polled Hereford cattle in 1944, and their seed stock is featured by every major semen handler in the United States.
This is a group of fall calving bred heifers. These heifers will start calving in early September. They represent the latest generation in our efforts to produce multi-trait, performance-oriented Hereford genetics. This set of heifers within the breed population would rank at the very top of the breed for growth, for maternal traits, carcass merit, and calving ease. Our primary business is servicing our commercial bull customers throughout the Southeast and into the Midwest. We market about 350 bulls a year. I've said many times that we're in the business of producing commercial bulls, and everything other than commercial bulls that we produce is just a byproduct of our program. We do market semen and embryos and purebred females. We sell some flushes, those kinds of things, but our real focus is servicing our commercial bull customers.
Glenmary Farm of Rapidan, Virginia is a very diversified operation run by Tom Nixon and family. The Nixons market load lots of home-raised feeder cattle throughout the country and intensely manage crossbreeding with a focus on carcass performance. They also develop heifers, run a custom feedlot, and have a bull test station.
These heifers were actually purchased, we bought back in January. They came out of a little place in Montana called Sidney, Montana. And we wanted to get some Charolais Red Angus blood. When you talk to people that buy the cattle, you got to find people that want the quality, and I don't think we'll have a problem selling, you know, these kind of cattle. When we're selling cattle and they want 80% choice, these are the kind of cattle that we'll give them at.
We started the turkey operation 16 years ago, and we were looking for another source of income. So we built 3 turkey houses, and at the time we were raising heavy toms for Wampler Longacre. And now we have converted to hens, and we are contractor grower of Cargill. Each house is 50 by 616 feet long. We start 17,000 birds in each house. They furnish the birds and the feed. We provide the housing and the labor. And so we get the birds the day they are hatched, and we keep them for 13 weeks. And when they leave, they'll weigh approximately 16 to 17 pounds.
We've got 2 barns here. This barn here has actually got a pit underneath of it. It's about 12 feet deep. These slats have got rubber on them. And this barn right here will feed about 480 head of cattle at one time full capacity. Most of the cattle that we've got in the barns now are Virginia cattle. I would say most of these cattle are probably coming in within 50 miles of this farm.
Each year, quality feeder cattle leave the farms and ranches of Virginia and go to more than 20 states across the country. Producers there are doing a great job of raising beef, which is a significant part of the state's heritage. We'd like to thank the Virginia Cattlemen's Association and all of our guests for helping bring you this program. That's all the time we have today. To keep up with the show, check out theamericanrancher.com or find us on Facebook. I'm Pam Minnick. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.